I want to start this morning by telling you a story that happened to me in Kansas City. Outside my door in the FEMA office in Kansas City, I heard loud voices. I heard Vivian, the administrative assistant, say, "Well, you just can't walk in there." And I heard another loud voice say, "Well, we know he's in there." And the second one said, "And we know he's not doing anything because regional directors don't do anything." And so I stepped out to find that there were two emergency managers from Southeast Nebraska that had stopped by to see me. I brought them into my office, told them not to harass the help, and began to visit with them. I shared with them that my concern was with the state of Nebraska wanting to take money from FEMA that was designated to buy homes out of the floodplain and use it to build levees. And I said, that's not what we're doing, and so I'm struggling with them. I talked with those guys for a little bit, and pretty soon one of them said, in his very calm and gentle voice, "You know what your problem is, Miller?" I said, "Well, I have a list started, but I figure that you would, you're going to add to it." He said, "Your give a damn quotient's too high. If you didn't give a damn, it wouldn't make any difference." I sent them on their way and told them that the next time I saw them, it'd be in Nebraska. But as I put my words together this morning, I thought about those words, and so the challenge for those of us, for all of us, is where's your caring quotient? I thought about my problem, and I realized that I'm in a congregation of people who all have a high degree of caring, who have a high give a damn quotient. My problem followed me to a mountaintop in West Virginia, to a flood recovery center. A woman walked in looking for help, and I met her and visited with her and learned that she was 73 years old. She and her 46-year-old son lived in a mobile home down the mountain in a holler next to a stream. And everything was fine except when the 10 inches of rain came on the top of the mountain. The stream turned into a roaring river, took her house, her car, and all of her belongings. And then she set her jaw and she said, "But I'm a proud woman, and I don't take charity." And I put my arm around her and I said, "Well, let me ask you a question. Did you ever take a casserole or a covered dish to somebody who had just gotten out of the hospital or who was sick?" "Well, of course I did." "And did you ever take cookies and brownies to somebody who'd lost a loved one?" "Well, yes, that's what we do." And I said, "I thought so." I said, "Why?" I said, "Why don't you let us help you this time?" And her lips started to quiver, and her tears came to her eyes, and she said, "I don't have a choice." I walked to the car. The congressman had taken me there, and I had tears in my eyes. And he said, "Does this happen often?" And I said, "Well, yeah, but now I learned why. I have a problem. From the doctors in Nebraska told me that I have a problem, and I'm learning to live with it." But what I learned from that is that my tears are special. And Washington Irving helps me with this. He says, "There's a sacredness in tears. They are not the mark of weakness, but of power. They speak more eloquently than 10,000 tongues. They are messengers of overwhelming grief and unspeakable love." And so my learnings from the top of the mountain and Clay's death And my tears give Washington Irving's words give me comfort. My next story comes from the middle of an interchange, in the middle of Highway 218 between Cedar Falls and Janesville, the C-57 exit. I got a call from Tony Thompson, the Black Hawk County Sheriff, standing in the middle of the highway saying, "John, we've got to do something." I said, "Tony, what's the matter?" He said, "I just launched the Life Flight helicopter to Iowa City. This is the third accident we've had at this intersection in the last week." And he said, and two of the accidents, I had to send people to the funeral home. He said, "We've got to do something." Seems he has the same problem that I did, that he cares a lot about things too. So I made some phone calls, and we got on the agenda for the DOT. And he presented his story, and it took a while. But 3 years later, if you drive between Waterloo and Cedar Falls, there's an interchange instead of a at-grade crossing, which eliminates a whole lot of accidents. When we cut the ribbon, somebody said, "You know, John, we ought to put your name on here." And I said, "No way, we cannot do that." I said, "There's a whole lot of people that made this thing happen. It wasn't me. It was a whole lot of other people." And so my learning from that is that you can get a whole lot of things done if you don't care who gets the credit. My final story is a story, and I have a picture, but I didn't get to bring it, of Andrew Young. Andrew Young was a ambassador to the UN. He was a United States congressman. And the picture that I have is of the two of us clasping hands together and laughing. And somebody said, "Well, what were you laughing about?" And I said, when he was mayor of Atlanta, something happened in Atlanta, and it was in the George Bush administration. And they were going to send some people down to help take care of the problem. And Andrew Young said, "Well, the last thing we need is some smart-ass white boys coming down from Washington to tell us how to run our business here in Atlanta." And I told him that, and we were laughing because I said, "I've used your quote a couple of times when people wanted me to get involved in places that it would be best that I not." I want to end this morning when Mary Kay read my bio, that in 1965 there was one of those rites of passage where you get married, and I married my spouse, Karen. We've been through some difficult times together, but we're going on 55 years. We've been lucky. We've laughed together, we've cried together, we've traveled together, and we've shared an awful lot of experiences. And so I cannot end my remarks this morning without saying thank you to my partner. I sent her a card a long time ago. It says, "When I'm going home, I mean I'm going home. I mean I'm going to where you are." And that says it all for me. I have a whole lot more stories, but I think that's enough for this morning.